am Denise Hadnott, and I am the founder of Wealth Matters and also of L Real Estate Collection, which is a residential and commercial real estate team. And I am joined with my friend, Bridgette Perkins. And Bridgette is the owner of Professional Business Solutions. And we have decided to start a series of, for business owners. But before we get into the whys of why we are starting this series, I want to introduce Bridgette, my partner in this, and have Bridgette tell you a little bit about herself.
Good morning. It's good to see you this morning. Well, I am the owner and the founder of Professional Business Solutions. I am an accountant, actually, by profession, and I've been doing accounting for like about 21 years now. And my most of the time that I've worked was in the oil and gas industry, which is what I'm in now. But I also do the Professional Business Solutions, of course, after work and on weekends. That's when I deal with my clients. But so I've been doing Professional Business Solutions for about 4 or 5 years now, but not at the extreme that I am now. And I'm so super excited that I get a chance to work with so many new clients and new business owners to help them get up and running and coach them and consult with them throughout their duration of their business to make sure that they are sustainable. But the other things that I do under my services is I provide business consulting, basic business knowledge, business financial literacy for businesses. I am a tax preparer and I am certified through the IRS with an even number. So I will be opening my own tax office in the very near future. So that is another thing that I'm excited about as well. I am also a Texas notary, and I do that mobile, or I have people that will come by my house from time to time to get documents notarized. But I do that, and there's a host of other things I do that we won't get into right now because there's so many. But again, that's a little bit of background about me, and I just enjoy doing what I do when I'm helping other people try to, attain their dreams and their goals in life.
So the reason Bridgette and we have been talking, and because like Bridgette just mentioned, how she's been working with business owners, and Bridgette and I were having a conversation, and Bridgette was talking about some of the things that the business owners are asking questions about. And a lot of it was pertaining to them making future moves in terms of real estate. So we got to talking and determined that, okay, you know what? Maybe we should put this information out there and give this education to people so they'll know what steps to make, what boss moves to make. I like to say Bridgette's boss moves, what boss moves to make, the ones that really matter. So throughout this series, we're going to talk about, all the things that you need to know and understand with launching your business, but also on the things that is in terms of real estate, what will be looked for as a business owner, what will be looked for when you are purchasing real estate, or if you're looking to lease a commercial space, the things that, the landlords or the owners of these buildings, those things that they're looking for financially, the things that you need to have in place. So it just it seemed like the perfect merger of what we needed to do as far as putting this information out. Would you agree, Bridgette?
Yes, absolutely. Again, going back to that conversation that you and I had, I think it also came up to, like I mentioned, that I also prepare taxes. So I prepare taxes for quite a few business owners. Most of my clients are business owners, of course. So I do their taxes as well. And I believe when COVID hit, some of them were trying to apply for loans and they were asking for documentation. Of course,
Mhm.
some of that documentation included financial records. So
Right.
we'll go into those things in more detail later on in the series, but just to give, the audience and everyone a background about how we collaborated on this, those were some of the questions they asked. They needed financial records. So again, some of them have not been keeping up with their financial records properly, which again goes back to later on when they want to get these loans. Now they want to attain a building space, which is Denise's background is the real estate. So it all tied together because I had to coach them. I had to teach them what their financial records were, what they looked like, what was on those records, what people were going to be asking for. There were some questions that I had, and I decided to reach out to you. And I'm like, hey, Denise, whenever you all are consulting about, leasing or people purchasing the commercial real estate from you on the business end, what is it actually that you all look for? So I had to communicate that to my clients so that they would be aware and they would be on top of their game, in their business, and not just, hey, I'm a business owner type thing. There's other things included with not just launching your business, but there's
Right.
other things included that goes with that. And one of the main things is financial records. You have to keep up with your financial records. So my mission for
Absolutely.
Professional Business Solutions, we are a small solutions-driven company, and my aim is to empower other small business owners financially. I encourage growth and economic stability by providing tools such as basic business knowledge, financial literacy, and continued client support to my clients. That's where, again, I communicate with my friend Denise, and I find out what it is that my clients need in order for them to be sustainable. And that goes into my vision. My vision is to make sure that they continue to stay profitable and they continue to be sustainable businesses, not just start a business today. And 6 months later down the line, and next year when they file their tax return, they're out of business because they didn't know what the next step was. They didn't know what to do. So again, reaching out to Denise, finding out what it is, and then we decided to collaborate on this series for everyone. In my outline, and here it says course outline because I also teach classes. I teach tax classes and I also teach bookkeeping classes, not only just to business owners, but also to the general public as well. Because again, I've had so many clients. They are in their 40s and 50s, have been working for years and do not know what's on their tax return. I
Yes.
asked them, okay, what was your AGI for last year? And the first thing they say is, well, what's AGI? So, and at first I was kind of like, how have you been filing taxes and you don't know what your AGI is? So, and I kept seeing it, kept hearing it. And I said, some people just really don't. So going back to why I
So,
started.
Bridget, I was just gonna say you're right about the whole tax. You and I just had the conversation, the other day when you were asking me questions about my taxes, and I was like, well, wait, we were looking at my son's taxes, and so anyway, that is so true. But one of the things I was gonna say was, I think it's important for people to understand the information that we're providing is to help you to stay in position to make whatever financial moves you're looking to make. And I think it's important for people to really understand this information will help guide you there. So it's not just what do I need to do so I can go ahead and make that quick dollar. It's what I need to do so I can make the money, sustain, and then be able to make financial moves to actually build wealth. So I just wanted to interject and say that little part, but go ahead.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, like I said, this slide says course outline because I do teach classes. So that's why it says course. But it's in general again for us to use. But in launching a business, like I said, just starting a business and saying I'm a business owner, it doesn't stop there. You have to continue to make conscious efforts in being sustainable. So not only do you just launch your business, you determine that in order to launch your business, the first thing you would do is determine your business type. The next thing you should do is create your business plan. Business
Absolutely.
plan is very important because this is your roadmap. This is your guide on how you are going to create this company, how you are going to stay in business, and how, again, you will be able to sustain your business. So creating a business plan is very important. I think you should never, ever skip this step. The next thing you should do is choose your business structure. And during our series, we are going to touch on each one of these bullet points, not all at once, because it is a lot of information for people. Believe it or not, it's a lot of information for people to attain. And we want you all to get your pen and pads together, or pencil pads. We want you all to soak this information in, write things down, jot things down, go back and review the information and rewatch it, and grasp some of the things that we will be discussing, because it's so very important in order to, again, to start that business that you've always been dreaming of starting. So
and
the next thing,
when you talk about creating a business plan, it's one of those things that beginning with the end in mind. You know, you have to know where you're going, and that's why it's important to start here. You got to have a start, and then that way you can work your way to whatever it is the goal is that you're trying to achieve.
And remember, it's so crazy that, again, on one of our conversations, we bought that book up. It's by Stephen Covey, right? Stephen Covey. Right. And if you have not read it, please get it. It's the one that I read way back when I was in middle school. That's a long time ago, y'all. It was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If I'm not mistaken, he has 1 or 2 more books that came out, I think, after that, because he added a couple of more habits, I believe, to that list, and I haven't read it yet. Which one is that you have?
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Can you see it?
Yes. It's a little glare on it, so I don't know if the audience will be able to see it. It's a little tilted a little bit over the top. Tilt the top. There you go. There it is. That's better. Okay. So, but our like minds, when we bought that book up, the first thing that I usually tell my clients is, when they tell me about what they want to do and how they want to get there, whatever, the first thing I ask them is, what do you want it to look like when you're done? Yeah. What do you want this business to do when you're done? How do you want this to produce? I always start.
And let me ask you, Bridgette, can most people answer that question?
Exactly. Nope. Yeah. And that's why we say creating that business plan, you cannot skip that step. You cannot skip that step. Because you start a business, and a couple of months later, I need to call B. I need to see, what do I do about this? I just got this paper in. I don't know what this is. What's a franchise tax return? I got to pay more taxes, and so that's why I try to.
But the reality of it is, though, most people start a business because they just need the extra money. So they don't think that they need to create a business plan, or they even need to create a business structure until it's too late. By the time that by the time they need the business plan, need the business structure, that's when they're trying to make another move. And that's why, again, why we're saying we want to give you all this information, so when you start off, you know what to do, how to do it, and then you'll be able to move along more successfully.
Yes, indeed. So yes, so that business plan is one of the most important things. So then after that, you register your name, you choose a name, you register a name, apply for any permits or licenses that your particular business may need. Everyone don't have to have permits and licenses, but those are some of the things that I discuss with my clients, just in case. There's one, I actually registered a company in California, believe it or not. And they have a valet trash service they're providing. So once we started talking, not only are they going to do the trash service, but I told them, I said, the wife, she was saying something about recyclables and stuff like that. And he was like, no. I said, I think she's absolutely right. Recyclables are very important. I said, those are some things, when you go out in people's neighborhoods, they have a trash can for regular trash. They may have a trash can for hazardous trash, and they have a trash can for recyclables. I said that could be another source of income that you can generate. He was like, oh, wow. So saying that to say, you at that point, I said, now what you need to do though is make sure that you don't have to have any extra permits or something like that if you need to use a trash dump, stuff like that. So those are things that should be discussed ahead of the game before you even go out there and you get stumped. Like you said, going back to that business plan. It still all ties into that business plan. Now you've got everything up and running, and then you get ready to go pick up some trash, and now you can't use the dump because you don't have a permit to come dump at that dump. You see?
Right.
So all of this ties in together. It's, almost like magic. So then you get close to the end. So then you get close to the end of the formation. I'm not saying the end of the business plan, but the formation. At this point, once we've gathered all the information, we've registered the business, got everything set in stone, and everything is not going to be perfect. Of course, it's not going to be 100% because, it's, you get out there and you have to also, you can still piggyback off of other people, what they're doing. But I tell people all the time, every business is not the same. You can be doing the same thing, but your business is not going to be like theirs. Every business is going to be different. So, but we get toward the end, and at that point, I discuss financials, how to keep up with their bookkeeping, keeping up with paperwork, what they'll be expecting for taxes, any other type of tax obligations they may run into. I am most of my clients are from the state of Texas, so I am I have more expertise with the Texas, regulations and stuff. So all of that, like with the franchise tax account, all states don't have franchise tax accounts that they have to pay. Some of them have to pay franchise tax on a monthly basis or quarterly basis. So those are things that I discuss with them before they even get out there and try to get their feet wet. But all of this falls under the financials, the opening of the business accounts, the tax obligations, insurance, then picking some type of location, marketing themselves and everything. Once I get to that part, I'm like, okay, we're about 99% done. So I start suggesting at that point, because I've had a couple of people, I start suggesting, okay, once you get all of this up and running, right now you're doing this out of your home, let's say. Do you ever expect to expand and get into a building or, lease a building or probably purchase a building to expand your business? So those are things, again, I put that in there right now ahead of the game, because what you want to do is start budgeting. That still falls under finances. So I then turn them over to my good friend Denise. That's not my expertise. So I have somebody for you when you're ready to purchase that building. And at that point, these 5 bullet points is this is my roadmap and this is my guideline that I use for my clients. But after that, like I said, and if they just want to get that information, I forward them on to Denise and then take it from there, Denise.
Right, because then from there, I'll find out what your expansion plans are, what it is that your business is, trying to do. Once you've been through all of these steps, then you understand about having your financials, making sure you have, statement, profit and loss statement, which these are some things that we are going to cover, but, making sure you have that business bank account, you have all of that already in place. So when you're looking for a location, then we know, okay, you already have everything together. It makes everything smoother and it makes it a smoother transaction. Also, if you're thinking about starting off leasing in commercial, we'll get into what it would look like if you start off leasing and maybe help you develop a plan to where you could purchase commercial real estate, because that is an option. You can purchase commercial real estate. You may even do it as an owner occupied building, where you as a business owner buy a commercial building. You're utilizing that building for your space, but you're also leasing out the other parts of the building. So you're actually generating income and letting that building help pay for itself. So those are things that we will get into. So once we go through the whole setting up the business part, then we'll start getting into the things that we'll be looking for to look for a location, and just kind of give you outlines and tips. And what we'll do is we will have our contact information after each video. So that way you'll know how to get in touch with us. If you have questions, you can actually drop the questions here on the YouTube page, and we'll, take the questions. We'll answer your questions, but again, you can contact us. We can get information to you, and basically it's all up from there.
Yeah. So again, I am super excited about our series. I love what I do. I love it. I love to see, the business owners, they call me, I'm so thankful for you. I'm so glad I got in touch with you. I'm so glad that I reached out to you. You just don't know, and it makes my heart.
And it's because you're giving them the knowledge. You're educating them. Yeah, people like that.
It makes my heart filled with joy. And I think one of the reasons why, because, okay, even going back to my background again about what I do, I've always, like I said, I've been an accountant for over 21 years. I've always done tax returns. And I've had a business before, actually. A lot of people don't know or don't remember. But when back in 05-ish, I used to work for an oil and gas company then. And it was Conoco, and they merged with the gas company Phillips. So they merged and they moved our accounting department to Bartlesville, Oklahoma. And they told us, they said, we'd have to move to Oklahoma. We'd have to take our severance package. But me being so new into the corporate world, I was like, what is a severance package? So basically it was like, they paid us for every year that we worked. So I was like, oh, wow. So when they showed me those numbers, I said, oh, wow. So I sat at home for a year, drawing my unemployment. At the time I was married. So, it wasn't too bad. I was a little saddened because I'd worked there for about 5 years. That was my first big corporate job, in accounting. And I missed my work family. We still keep in touch, though, some of us. But long story short, I took that money and I sat at home for about a year. And again, I was drawing my unemployment. I had that. My husband was working. Everything was good. And he had a cousin who was pregnant. And I'll never forget, she asked me, she said, B, when I have my baby, she said, would you keep my baby for me? And I'm thinking like, babysitting? My kids by now are middle school, high school. We're about to have kids. And I'm not keeping kids. I was like, oh, girl, sure. I sure will. So I started keeping her baby. So she started referring to her pregnant friends, the ones that were getting pregnant, and I started keeping their babies. Before I knew it, I had about 10 or 12 kids at my house I was keeping. And these were even after school kids in my neighborhood because everybody just knew us. They knew my kids. So I started thinking, and at the time my mom was living, and I said, you know what, maybe I should start a daycare. I said, I'm gonna have to, because if somebody report me with these kids in here with no registration, I'll be in trouble. I started my first business in 2007, 2007. And it was unexpected because I grew up, and we're from the country, Louisiana, not New Orleans, we're from the country, the woods. And my grandmother and my family, they always, we were always instilled, it was always instilled in us to go to school, get an education, get a job, work, take care of your family. We didn't have that background about starting a business. That was not something that that was not something that was discussed, starting a business. But I also look back at the elders in the neighborhood. Back then, there were elders who had their own business, the corner grocery stores, the corner candy stores. So, they had businesses. But again, that was just not something that, we discussed or something that was on our agenda. So when I moved here, starting that business was very unexpected. So, it just kind of fell in my lap, and I went from there with it. But things happened, life happened. I ended up closing the daycare. I got back into the corporate world. So when I got back into the corporate world, I started, I think I did touch bases with you a few times about the notary, because I think you were doing notary back then or something when I first met you. And I kept saying, I think I'm gonna do a notary. I think I'm gonna do notary. So I finally got started doing notary, and things picked up from there. So when I started meeting people and they started asking me, well, do you do such and such? And do you do such and such? And I was like, well, no, I can get some information for you. So I just started gathering the information. I started building and building and building. And now I have this conglomerate things that I do under my umbrella. So what happened, my daughter, the kids started introducing me to social media. So the Instagram, first I was on Facebook. I finally got used to Facebook. Then she started putting me on Instagram. So I was like, oh, I don't know about this Instagram stuff. I started seeing a lot of young people starting businesses. Like, oh, wow, that's nice. That's awesome. And I started seeing them going backwards with it. The first thing that I would see is, oh, I'm about to start my business. I just got a logo. And I'm like,
Yes.
The logo.
Yes. Yeah.
So I said, logo. So
because that's the thing. But you got to think about that. The logo, you get a lot of times people start off with the logo because you're starting off with what looks good. We always wanted to put out front what looks good, not realizing we have a lot of homework in the background that we need to do. And one of the things that I've been sitting here thinking about that I think is important that we share with people is get you a business accountability partner. Bridgette and I have been accountability partners now for 2 years? And that's something that we do. And that's something I think is important. It doesn't have to be someone that they have all the details of everything, but they at least need to know what your goals are. They at least need to know what you're working towards, and then help hold you accountable so you can actually meet those business goals. Because the logo is nice. That's what makes it look good. It's like us getting dressed. We look good, but then everything else is all so the logo is cute, but you got to have the structure.
Exactly. The structure. That's the most important thing, the structure. Yep. So I started seeing those logos popping up, and I was like, me with my nose and said, hey, have you registered your business? And I'm, keying it. I'm like, they're probably gonna eat me for lunch for asking them maybe. And they're like, how do I do that?
What you mean register?
What register? What do I do? How do I do that? And so that's when I started collaborating with some of them. And then they like, oh, okay, thanks. And I'm really giving them, like the young people say, free game, type thing.
Yes.
So I started doing it, and I saw there was a need. And that's one important thing that you must know about starting a business. Make sure there's a need. The market is pretty saturated with some things a lot of people are doing, but that's no problem here because you have hundreds of thousands of fashion designers, so you can have 100,000.
It's enough business out there for everybody.
Oh yeah. So, but that need still research and make sure there's a need, and make sure that the market that you're targeting, they have a need for that. But the need, so I saw there was a need for my services. And that's when I decided to launch the Professional Business Solutions. That way, it really covers a lot. It covers a lot of stuff under there, all the way down to now lately, I've had people asking about the trademarking. And it's funny because right when they started asking me about trademarking, you called me about it. Do you do trademarking? I said, baby, now I do a lot of things, but the trademarking is beyond me. So we're going to get into that. I mean, we don't do the trademarking, but actually, Denise, you do have
an attorney that can help with trademarking.
Yes. So that's one thing that I don't do. We'll touch bases on that as well, so they'll know, we'll steer them in the direction, how to get their stuff trademarked and stuff like that. But so again, I'm super excited about what we have in store for the public out here. What we have in store for each other, because believe it or not, she and I both, we still learn new things on a daily basis. Every day I learn something new. Every day.
Yes.
Even if it's something dealing with notary. As long as I've been doing notary.
So we're going to wrap up this segment, and we'll be back. Look for the upcoming videos. The first one that we'll talk about for the next series will be determining your business type. And then, of course, we'll go into creating the business plan, choosing the business structure, registering the name, the permits and licenses. And then we'll get into set up your business account, finding a location, and so forth. So do you have anything else, BP, before we get out of here?
No, that'll be it, because once I start talking, it's like a locomotive. I start off a little slow, baby. When I get down the road a little bit, it takes a lot to stop me. So no, I think I'll cut it off here, because I'll start going into the whole series. I get excited when I talk about it. I get excited when I talk to the clients and anybody that I talk about with business. So, but no, that's all that I have to share for today. Basically, of course, we're just introducing our the outline of what we're going to do, what we plan on presenting out here for the public.
Tell people where to find you. Where to find your social media website.
You can find me on Facebook under Pro Biz Solutions .notary. You can also find me on Instagram at pro_biz solutions. And I also have a website. The website will give you a plethora of information on what I do. You can also go on that website and schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me about anything that you want to discuss business-wise. And also, if you want to just check into taking some of my courses, I teach tax classes, I teach bookkeeping classes, and there's different levels of the bookkeeping and tax classes, because there's a beginner's level for people who just want to know about it. There's also a level for people who want to do it for their business. And then I have a level for people who want to start their own tax service in the near future. And also how to become a bookkeeper. So there's about 3 different levels to each class. You can find that information at www.p as in Paul, B as in Bridget, s-thesolution.com. That's www.pbs-thesolution.com.
And what we'll do is down below, we'll have this information, the social media pages and the website. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, pretty much the social media pages at Denise Hadnott, and it's HADNOTT. My website for Wealth Matters is wealthmatterstoyou.com. And then I also have ellcommercial.com, is ELLE commercial.com. But we will have all that information down at the bottom for you. If you like this information, please like it, share it. And I guess that's it. We'll talk to you soon. Until next time, right?
Until next time.